welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
Tell me about you've had since I talked to you first a couple days ago. What's been going through your mind as far as remembering some of your days back here on this field at Wayzata and your years at the school?
Yeah, well, it's been a long soccer career for me since I graduated from Wayzata, and I have been thinking about my time here and going through some of the articles, and I think I came to the realization that my more than 4 years playing on the varsity team here were some of the best memories of my soccer career, both coaching and playing. It was just such a special time for Wayzata soccer, and I think we started something really cool, and it's great to think about it and remember it.
This was not until Tony came here, not really a soccer program. I think he had won maybe 3 games the year before he went to the state final in '90. How much has he played an influence in building this program to what it still is today, and what started with you girls?
Right. Well, I think Tony, evaluated us as a very talented group and wanted to get involved. And the second he, was our coach, we were organized and we were disciplined, and he just was someone who could rein it all in. And before that, it just hadn't really been done. And he has kept it up, and I think he's played a role in a lot of our lives since high school. He's still in my life significantly, so I think he's just one of those special coaches and people who do it right and get it done year in and year out, and somehow stay fresh and passionate and still love to do it. So, he had a bit of a magic wand and waved it, and it's still going. It's pretty impressive.
Is the son going to be okay? Yeah. Did you at the time know that you were going to go into coaching, or how did that come
No,
about?
no, I didn't even really know I wanted to play in college. It was so new then. It was a pretty young sport for women, and the opportunities just were coming my way. So why would you turn them down? So that was pretty fortunate, pretty lucky. And then I had another great experience as a student athlete at Northwestern, another great coach, and I didn't have a lot of direction as I was looking toward graduation about what I wanted to do with my life, and she encouraged me to try coaching. And that's really how it started. It wasn't very well thought out. It was more like, I don't really know what else to do, so I'll try this, and I loved it.
And you're still doing it.
Yeah, I am still doing it, still dabbling. I think I've started to realize that soccer's just not going to leave my life. I have a family to raise right now, and that's where I'm most focused, but I'm dabbling in it. I'm keeping my big toe in it, and it's nice. It's fun, and it's fun to, have roles that don't have a lot of pressure and have more flexibility, but also just get to stay in the game.
You talked about being a player maybe at the right time for women's soccer. What did you mean by that?
Well, it was a sport that was just exploding when I was in high school and when I was in college. And nowadays, it's so much more competitive. There are so many more girls playing. The level of coaching and the level of youth club structures is just so much more dynamic. And, I had a lot of success scoring goals, and I just think what I did in those years would be very hard to do now. It's just way more competitive these days.
As a player, specifically here at Wayzata, what made you a good player, do you think? Made you stand out above some of the other players on the field?
Well, partly it was my teammates. I think we had such a special team, a lot of good players in a lot of different roles. And I mean, my strength was goal scoring. It wasn't much else. I mean, I worked hard defensively and played some other roles, but it was mostly just if my teammates could get the ball near the goal, I was pretty decent at putting it away. So without that, I don't know that I would have been as prominent. And we just, part of that is Tony, and part of that is just the talent we had in this community that we put together. But we had a bunch of special players who didn't get the attention I got because they weren't scoring the goals. But without them, I would have been just another player.
The 91 team was the first one that won a state championship for Wayzata. How special was that?
It was incredible, and I don't think we knew how special or incredible it was. It was just, for us, it was just having that experience that day. And when you look back, it's pretty amazing what we did so quickly without any tradition and without any history of success. But I'll never forget that game. I'll never forget, I talk about it often. One of my best friends is Aaron Chastain now. We live a mile apart, and we laugh about moments with Wayzata soccer all the time. And I'll never forget that game because we didn't know that it was golden goal. And the whole team had rushed the field, and we were all like, get off the field. We're gonna get in trouble. This is gonna be a penalty. And I remember Tony was hugging me saying, no, we're done, we did it. And it was amazing.
How about Northwestern? Tell me about your soccer experience there. I mean, you mentioned your coach, but was that a fun 4 years for you as well?
It was an incredible 4 years. I would say, my time in Wayzata playing here, my time at Northwestern, that was the sweet spot of my soccer career. That, it was another program where we were building something. My freshman year was the first year of the program. So we were starting from scratch, kind of like we did here, with another really good dynamic coach, and we accomplished a lot in my 4 years. And the year after I left, they were in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. So I think my group there felt like we did a lot of work and grinded things out and got things organized. And it's a program that's been up and down. I think it's a hard place to win in the Big Ten, but it's a special place, and it's a soccer program that people love to play in.
Who was your coach, your college coach?
Marcia McDermott. Yeah, and she's still one of my dearest friends, and she's still coaching. And she and Tony, are two of the most influential people in my lives. Besides my parents, those two were massive for me.
What was your major in college?
I majored in secondary ed and Spanish, so I should have been a Spanish teacher if I had done what I was supposed to do.
So pretty much right after you graduated, you went right into college.
Right away, yeah.
First year, right?
Yep, I went to Cal Berkeley. I made very, very little money for a long time, which my parents were like, Northwestern for this? But they've always been very supportive, and I just kind of popped around until my first full-time job was at Stanford. So everything before that was, just getting experience and trying to land a full-time job.
So you've been at Stanford, Cal, Harvard, and Northwestern, right?
Yep, with a couple round trips to Harvard and Harvard and Northwestern. Yeah.
What was it like being a head coach once you got to that position?
It's different. It's good, and it's funny that you asked that right now because I'm back to being an assistant, and I think everybody wants to be at the top of their career, which is a head coach in ours, and I liked it a lot. I think it was really fun, but I'm not minding being an assistant right now either. There's a lot of different dynamics. As a head coach, you have a lot of say. You get to plan the direction of your program and of your team. But as an assistant, I think you are a little more free to have relationships with the players that are less pressure filled, and I really liked that part of coaching. So I'm enjoying that again. Just being able to really develop relationships with players without worrying too much about what they think and reading in and all those dynamics that go into being a head coach, where you have to just be very even and consistent, and you know, it's just different. They're two really different roles. I've liked them both. And I think when I first got a head coaching job, it was really exciting. I loved it. But I don't yearn for that now.
So tell me the club you're with now.
I'm coaching with the Chicago Red Stars, which is one of the 8 teams in the NWSL, which is the new women's pro league in the U.S.
How exciting is that to be part of a new league like that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we've done a couple tries of women's pro soccer, and it's been a hard thing to get to stick in our country, as it is for a lot of female sports. But I like the model that we're currently using, and I think there's a lot of support from the best players in our country. So I think it will have success, and it's been fun.
So is this the first season?
It's the first season right now.
And what's roughly the season from when to when?
It's, well, preseason started in March, and then the championship game is on August 31st. So it's about a 6-month full season, 22 games for each team.
How's your team doing?
We are currently in 5th out of 8th. 4 teams make the playoffs, so we're in the mix still. We're hoping to get the 4th spot and make it to the playoffs.
So now, are you in Chicago or one of the suburbs?
I live in Wilmette, which is just north of Evanston. I live a mile from the football stadium at Northwestern. So.
Tell me about your life in Illinois now, outside of coaching.
Yeah, well, I have 3 kids. I have 2 9-year-olds. I have a daughter, and my husband has a son, so he's my stepson. They're both entering 4th grade, and they're 2 months apart, so we call them our step twins. And then we have a 2-year-old daughter. And my husband was a soccer player here in Minnesota. He played at SPA. His family actually has a really rich tradition, as his sister and I were teammates here and there on state teams, and she played at Stanford. So she and I have always been pretty close and in touch, and so we live on the North Shore, and we love it. It's great. It's a great place to raise a family, and it's close enough to here that we get to see our families.
Would you ever want to be a Division I head coach again, or are you now at the point like, that was fun, but
yeah, that was fun.
Me, or no?
I don't think so. I think, I love females coaching females. I think there's not enough of that going on, but it's a really hard job to balance a family. There's a lot of travel, a lot of time. In fact, you're really never off. And, we're not the kind of coaches who are making amazing amounts of money to justify that sacrifice. So I think a lot of women who have families kind of filter out after a while just for that reason, and nothing more. I mean, it's a great job, and if you can make it work and you have a family, it's great. But I just feel really fortunate that I don't have to work right now, and I feel like I missed a lot with my first daughter. I was on the road all the time, and I want to give her some of that. She's now playing soccer. I want to be at her games. I don't want to miss those games on the weekend. So I don't see myself doing that. I think my role in soccer will be different than a head coach in college, but I think I'll have one for a while.
What are your children's names?
Zaya is my 9-year-old daughter, Charles is my 9-year-old son, and Etta is my 2-year-old.
2 soccer players, 1 soccer player right now?
We have 2. My stepson plays. He's not as competitive with it, but he plays, and we don't know about Etta. We try very hard to not push soccer. I think, my daughter grew up on a college soccer team, so I wanted to be sure that she wanted to play soccer, not just do soccer because she's supposed to do soccer. So she's proven that she wants to play soccer for her. But she's into she's a singer and a dancer, and plays guitar. I don't think you should know what they're gonna be at 9, so I can't say I know what her passion will be, but she's got a lot of them right now. Soccer's one of them.
Finally, you talked about the state championship game in particular, but do you have a lot of great memories of Wayzata soccer?
I do. I remember moments in Wayzata soccer games more than any other from my playing. Like I remember certain goals, I remember certain wins, I remember certain team talks more than any other. I don't know why or what that is. I think in my career, I had the most success at Wayzata. And so, those are probably the most fun memories out of my career, but I have vivid memories of this program, and not even just games, but practices. I mean, our practices were so fun, and we always looked forward to them, and it was that was part Tony and just putting a great environment out there for us, and otherwise just really good friends and teammates. And high school is who you've grown up with. You get to college and you just met those people, and you're only with them for 4 years. So I think you have just a really great history, and those of us who got to play here, we're just so fortunate to have so much success and fun times. But it's great. It's great memories.
There's a lot of great players that have followed you here for the last 2 decades at this school. You take pride that you're still the all-time leading scorer, which surprised me, to be honest.
I know. I mean, I don't, it's not brought to my attention all that often, but when it is great, it's fun, but I'm quick to say, I just think it's so much harder now. So I see that being a really hard feat for someone who's probably a lot better than I ever was. So I don't put a lot of stock into it, but sure, I mean, it's a great thing to be able to say.
Do you follow the team at all? I mean,
oh yeah, I mean, when I was a college coach, I really did, because I always wanted to have a Wayzata kid. So recruiting wise, for sure. And I watched it live stream last year. So we do, the alums, we care, we follow it. We're always cheering. I would say we get really into it come state tournament time. And then we'll follow Twitter, we'll follow live streams, and I see Facebook posts all the time about Go Trojans, and we won again. And yeah, we still feel some ownership for the current success, and I think that's fair. So we're right there in there cheering for them.
Very good. That's all I had.
Great.
Good. Do you have any questions? That's got a question forming in his head.
Well, I know you touched on it a little bit. I was just say how did Wayzata, like say talk about Tony the coach, prepare you for the next level at Northwestern?
Yeah. Well, gosh, I mean, a lot. I think, again, college soccer for females was so new that nobody knew how to prepare. So Tony was always holding us to a higher standard than our peers, I think. Fitness was important. There were certain skills tests, fitness tests that you had to pass, which just wasn't the norm yet. It was more of a rec setting at the high school level. If you want to play, come play. There was a spot for you somewhere, varsity, JV, sophomore, and I think Tony just raised the expectations and the standards. And when you got to college, that was way more the norm. And so I think we were being prepared without really knowing we were being prepared. And those of us who went on to play college soccer, which from our Wayzata team was a lot of us, we were not in culture shock with the expectations and the standards. So Tony was pretty groundbreaking with that. I just think his standards and expectations were not consistent with high school soccer at that time. And yeah, I think we were very fortunate to have him and not really have a clue what he was doing for us.